Hi, my name is Christian, and I sell software into a market that is being massively disrupted right now. So I'm creating these videos to kind of lay a foundation to start something new. So in this video, given the everything that's going on in the market and like the massive changes that are going on, it got me thinking about the proverb about seeing danger ahead and taking precaution, right? And that leads us to Proverbs 22:3 on Bible Gateway here. So, a prudent person foresees danger and takes precautions. The simpleton goes blindly on and suffers the consequences. Right. So, as far as digital transformation, digital disruption, I think about these things a lot. I've been selling software for a while now, and with AI and IoT and all these emerging technologies and cloud software and all the data that's being collected on a daily basis, it's just human beings, we think linear, but what's going on around us is happening at an exponential scale. So it's pretty wild. So I've just been thinking about these things a lot, and so that's got me kind of thinking about sales, direct sales versus more like, getting content out into onto the internet and selling in a different way. Right. So I've never wanted to be, I never wanted to show my face online or anything like that, but I just kind of see what's happening here, and I think it's just something to look into. So let me continue on here. Just want to share, this is something that, digital transformation has been an interest of mine. Going back to 2020, I took a couple courses on this stuff, and they're really interesting. This one goes back to uh, May of 2020. So this was kind of like in the smack dab middle of COVID, you know, kind of sensing all this stuff was going on and kind of gearing up for the changes, right? Now, if I were you, I'd be looking at me like, who cares that you did this? Like, your credibility is about as good as the pixels that these certificates were, printed on. Why should we even care? And my answer back to you would be, you shouldn't, other than I did, invest a little time and money to get a condensed look at this stuff: digital transformation, digital disruption. And all I can say is that, it's now 2026, and this stuff was interesting. It all made sense in 2020. And now, flash forward just 6 years, it's like all the exponential change and how drastic that can be is hitting us right now. So everybody has a sense of this, right? The value I gained was that I got a really deep and condensed look at it. So as it started arriving in my, front view mirror, I was like, wow, this is really something, That's the value of it, right? I'm not trying to be like, hey, I got 2 certificates. I want to try to be like a, digital transformation coach or what, it's not like that. It was like a personal interest. And it's been like a theme in my life for a while, right? So I want to share this. So I'm kind of like dabbling in this whole like content creation world, in what it would be like to like put a concerted effort around that. So did a couple audiobooks, a couple digital products here and there along the way, but again, never like really uh, fully committed to that. So, but back in 2015, I wrote a book and made it an audiobook. Customer Success is Key: How a Small Manufacturer Transformed into an Internet of Things Solutions Provider and Unlocked $2 million in SaaS revenue. All right, so I wrote this book. It was a story about a company I was working for. We were doing some innovative things at the time, right, in our space. And I'm just showing you this to give you a realistic perspective. Now, so I sold 638 units of this audiobook, right? So I didn't become a millionaire. I didn't start making a living online. But what I want to share is that through this experience, I had like this blip of success. And I got to tell you, like the money I did make and some of the other things that happened like during this time it was the best feeling money I ever made in my life, right? And I never forgot it, right? Now, you go back to 2015, it's 2026 now, go back to 2015. Um, if you did a book through ACX and then, had it sold on Audible and iTunes, back then, it wasn't quite as saturated, right? So I did this, I combined the themes of customer success and IoT. you know, I was one of the first books on there. I didn't do any marketing, but people, audiobooks are becoming more and more popular. So people were doing searches, finding the books, made a couple sales. Um, so now we're everything's much more saturated, but there's also something called network effects. So, like with YouTube channel, it's like the more people that are on YouTube, the more you actually have a shot to make something happen online. So that's all I really have for this video. This is kind of like a log in a journal of, starting to put concepts together and, what it would really take to start building a business and put the marketing around it. And really I want to be authentic and show, it's kind of like small beginnings. It's like, here's the starting point. Can we really take it somewhere substantial from here? Thanks for watching this video.